but we all know her as Rose Tyler. Let's have an awesome time welcome to Billie Piper. Chat for a minute. Let's talk some about the new series coming up on Showtime that you're in.
Yes.
Penny Dreadful.
Yes. That's about a month away, I believe.
Yeah, I think I saw it was starting in May. You play Rona Croft.
Yes. She's from Belfast, Northern Ireland. She's come over to London to make her way, and she's a very interesting character, and she's a sickly character actually, but in spite of all of that, she's certainly feisty.
And her Rona, I understand, means sadness.
It does, yeah. And that's probably all I can say about it. It's this treacherous kind of spoiler.
Yeah, we got to be careful what we say, but it takes place in Victorian London.
It's Victorian London. That much I can say.
It's a horror genre, sort of.
It certainly has horror, sort of supernatural elements, but I think my interpretation of it is more that it's about a group of people living on, the outskirts of society. They're all living with demons and darkness and strength, and they're finding each other. They find each other, and also it's there's lots of figures from iconic figures from literature, So.
Right, and we could probably mention it because it's been in some of the publicity from Showtime.
And I'm sweating just worrying that I'm
going
to get this wrong.
Like Frankenstein and Dorian Gray.
Yes, exactly.
And things like that.
Yeah, and then there's some new additions created by the wonder that is John Logan.
And the promo that I saw online is very disturbing, very creepy.
Yeah. I think there are a few. I saw one which is it's very strange, it's extremely scary. It has slightly more sexy elements as well.
Yeah, there was another thing they had with you. And
yes, of course. That was a bit fruity. Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to it. It's called Penny Dreadful, starting on Showtime.
Yeah, it's on Showtime. And it's out in a month. I mean, you're good with the dates.
Mid-May.
Mid-May, yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to know is, did you always want to be an entertainer?
Yeah, I think so. I always wanted to be an actress, yeah. From a very young age, maybe about 9, I think I knew that's something I wanted to do professionally.
You did? You were like a teen pop star for a while.
Yeah, I started singing though when I was about 13, and that was my path really for about 5 or 6 years. Yeah. So I left school and started touring basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have led to an interesting.
It was a colourful time. Yeah. And I really missed the acting side of things, so I stopped singing and pursued acting again.
Right, and you've done stage work.
Yeah.
Actually, very critically acclaimed stage work. You were, I believe, nominated for an Olivier.
Yeah, last year.
For Best Actress in the Effect.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't get it, so.
At the National Theatre.
At the National Theatre,
Working there must have been a thrill.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to work. It's the best. I could work there for the rest of my life, and I'm not even being dramatic. That is, it's kind of, it's like a factory, really. It's kind of built for actors and directors, and it's very collaborative, and they treat you really well, and they care about, the way actors go about their work. and there's so many different.
I need to make sure that's not my phone.
There's so many different productions going on now. Well, actually, it's in rep, so there's lots of different things happening at the same time. So you get to meet other, actors in other productions, and you get to talk, and it's just lovely, really. I'd work there, forever if I could.
And it's a lovely venue to see theater too.
Yeah, it's great, and it's really experimental, and they just care. It feels like it's built very much for people who work in that profession, and I think then that works somehow in front of an audience. Yeah.
The Think National Theater, wasn't it created by actors?
By Lawrence Olivier.
Yeah.
The actor.
The actor.
In fact, there's this statue of him outside. It's not the greatest statue, I have to say. He looks very small and kind of stressed. But I think he built it up and made it what it is.
Yeah, it's one of the premier acting venues in the world.
And it's on the South Bank, so if you want some kind of Woody Allen London experience, it's there. It's beautiful, and it's all along that strip. Actually, it's great. Lots of artistic things and venues and museums and restaurants. Yeah.
Are you a foodie?
Big
Speaking
time.
of restaurants?
Yeah, I just killed some big black turkey sub just now. I mean, it's not that adventurous, but when I come here I like to eat large because we all eat large. Yeah. It's good. I really get my good portions here.
So you've done your stage work. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things you did at the BBC.
Yeah.
Which was the Sally Lockhart, two of the Sally Lockhart quartets. Philip Pullman wrote the books, and you starred in two, they did two of the books as BBC films, Ruby and the Smoke and Shadow of the North.
Yeah.
And you starred in them as Sally Lockhart. Did you read the books?
I did,
I
read the books. The books are great. And Matt Smith was in them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We worked together a few times. That's where we became, mates.
Yeah. Now, the preparation for doing that part, this was the first drama you did after you finished doing Doctor Who, and the first lead role you'd ever done.
Yeah.
What was that like? How nervous were you about taking on something like that, and what kind of preparation did you do for the part?
I didn't feel that nervous. I was so excited, and it was so nice to go from doing Doctor Who to then doing something that was quite radically different. Still very much family-based drama, but it was just a shift, and I was excited about that. And as much as it was about something that it was kind of felt it was an ensemble piece really, so I never felt like I was at the helm, and I never really felt that anyway. But I found it to be. And most of the research was we were looking a lot about the period in which it was based, and we were looking a lot about etiquette and how to stand and how to be a lady, and the way of the time, the usual stuff that one could do, that kind of work. And mostly it was great fun. Yeah. And the classic kind of costume, corset wearing drama, but it was, it was brilliant.
I understand that when you're dressed in the period costume with the corset and all that it makes you stand and breathe and kind of be different.
Yeah, it totally changes everything. It's why costume is so useful, and why you should put it on as soon as you can, because it can really inform what you do. And certainly with period stuff, it sets you perfect because you're upright and ready to go. Although I did wear a corset in Penny Dreadful, but I bent it out so much that I was able to be really loose and slumpy and probably way too modern. Who knows? We'll see.
So are you, as an actor, there's actors that work from the inside out, and there's actors that work from the outside in. You know, where you get the character and then look at how you look and how you stand. There's others, like, I've got to know what the character looks like and how the character stands. Which way do you work?
I think it changes for me. For me, I just start reading something over and over and over again, and that becomes quite obsessive, and that's the way and then I pick bits from the script that help me create something larger, yeah. That's how I tend to work. I mean, you know, sometimes you'll walk right down the street and you'll see something that's very useful, you know, but I think it's all about, for me, that's where I begin, and that's where I stay, really, very much script-based. Yeah, I wish there was something slightly more fantastic to say about it. I think it's really hard, because I think when you're trying to work out a character, it's quite a sacred thing, you know, and sometimes there's lots of things that you can't explain why you did a certain thing, or how you did it. Sometimes these things just emerge through homework.
Well, it sounds like to you the words are important.
Yeah, and I think if you've got a really brilliant writer, you're halfway there, really.
Yeah, you've had some pretty
I've had some awesome writers, yeah.
Yeah, including Shakespeare.
Including Shakespeare. And then on the back of Shakespeare, yeah.
You were in A Much Ado, BBC did.
Yeah, it was like a modern reimagination, you know, retelling of the story. Yeah. Right,
where you played Hero.
I played Hero. Yeah.
Who was, I think, a weather forecaster.
Yeah. That was really hard, actually. I found the coordination of having to like read, you know, when they have the weather behind them and they're trying to like, you know, talk really detailed about, you know, the day's forecast, and you're having to look at your body, the whole thing. I found that really the trickiest thing in my profession so far. It's not easy.
So you'll stay an actress, you're not going to go into weather.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a skill that I can possess.
I find Hero to be, in some ways, one of the most thankless roles in Shakespeare.
Oh, really?
You've got Beatrice and Benedict, and they do all this great stuff. In Hero, the plot goes around her, but it's really hard for Hero to be that
but
strong.
She's kind of like the catalyst of all the drama, really. Yeah. So, I think David Nichols wrote it. You know, Shakespeare wrote it, but David Nichols did the screenplay for it, and I think that I think he gave everyone more energy, and that really and the characters really benefited from it. I really felt like she was, you know, a hearty part of the story, and it wasn't. I don't think it was a kind of. She didn't feel wet. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. She felt kind of full-bodied.
That's good. That's tricky with Hero.
Yeah, it is tricky actually. But I think because of the way they set it, and the fact that she is, you know, is a modern woman, it's a different thing altogether, really.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about The Secret Diary of a Call Girl.
Cheeky.
I know about it. Yeah. And that one thing was the research you did on it, because it was based on the book. And what I'm trying to get at is the woman that wrote the book hadn't come forward yet, but you were able to talk to her when she was still secret to figure that out.
It was a really covert operation. Yeah, we met at the producer's house, and I wasn't allowed to tell anybody about it, and it was strange, yeah, because you're basically talking to someone who feels like they're in hiding. Do you know what I mean? And to some extent, she was. So that was. I was certainly tense making, but she was very candid. I mean, you know, even more candid than she is in the book. And let's face it, was pretty candid. But yeah, and then I mean the second part of that process was meeting girls who work in that profession today, you know, professionally and literally, you know. It was very insightful, and you know, it's definitely strange to me, but it's an interesting world, yeah.
Something else about this is that I understand that Matt Smith was one of your clients?
My best client. Oh, yeah. I mean, we didn't have to do anything that full on, actually, thank God. Not that Matt isn't totally adorable and really attractive, but just because that would be, like, it could have been quite strange. Yeah, we just had to share a bed and a few snocks, and it's just Saturday night.
Just a day in the office.
It's just a day with Matt Smith. Just like with him. In fact, I saw him 2 days before I came out here.
Oh.
Yeah, we went to the pub.
How's he doing?
There was no rolling around.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How's he doing?
He's doing really well. We were very drunk.
And one interesting thing I was reading about while you were doing Secret Diary was that while you were shooting that, you were also shooting some of the Doctor Who specials, so that you would be Belle
by
day and Rose by night.
Which should have been the other way around.
Yeah,
yeah, that was quite a mental shift.
Yeah, I mean, how did you get out of the one character and become Rose again?
Jeans and a wig. I mean, it was as simple as that. Hooded top, beanie hat, and then it was all good to go with Rose. Yeah, that was a mad day. Mostly because that was a long day. But the minute the thing about doing Doctor Who, because I've left, come back so many times, when you're there, it's quite easy to just go again. Do you know what I mean? You're surrounded by the same group of people, pretty much. It's a family. There's a history, and it's always good. It's not like you're doing a lesser version of it every time you come back. It's always it's a tight ship, and everyone's charged, and you know, everyone loves it. So it's easy. It's easy to slip back into it. Yeah.
One more question something I want to ask you about before we open it up to audience questions.
Yeah.
Is you worked with a man I think is one of the finest actors working today, and that was John Hurt. What was that
like? Yeah, he's an amazing actor, isn't he? I mean, and you see him working, and it's just effortless. It's like, you know, when you get those singers like, I don't know, like Whitney or Mariah or someone it's just gifted to them, you know, and they open their mouth and it's just there, and he's the same. The camera's there, he goes, and it's just deeply moving. And also he's really good to prop up at the bar with. We had a few good ones in the bar. Everyone else is
theme here.
Yeah, but that's England, you know.
That is very true.
Everybody else has been kind of holding it together and being very sober. John and I had a few things of red wine. He's great, yeah.
I imagine you learned a lot.
He's just, you know, he's lively and spirited, and can get grumpy, and really, like, was in awe of David and Matt. Really, yeah. Just the level of just how they have to come with it every day, and you're talking about long, chunky, you know, monologues and dexterous text, and it's hard, and they have to go home and have to learn it all the time, and it's a massive commitment, and they come, and watching them together was amazing, because it's like, you know, it's smart and it's vibrant, and they're masters at it, and it's not easy. And I think he was genuinely like, yeah, I know he was. He would often say, "This is amazing to witness," and I feel slightly out of my depth. Yeah.
That's astounding.
Yeah.
John freaking her.
I know. Of course, they're totally in awe of him because it's John Max. There's a lot of back patting on that job. It was quite self-congratulating. Yeah, but that was good. That was a really fun time.
Okay. Why don't we open it up for some audience questions? We've got our interlocutor there.
God, so huge. How much do you think is getting in line tomorrow? I'll know tomorrow. How to do it. That's what I might do. Tomorrow we'll see.
No, it's just broken there. Okay, ready? Ready.
All right. Ms. Piper,
Hi.
first of all, thank you for coming. As someone that knows you from more of your dramatic roles and having never seen an episode of Doctor Who,
Thank you for putting yourself out there in this room.
figured as much. I wanted to know if you find more satisfaction in some of the dramas and theater work that you've done, or more so from stuff like this that has led you to these kind of events.
I think they're really, obviously they're totally different things, but I think as an actor, theatre is really hard, but actually probably the most rewarding, because you get to do rehearsals and you get to build relationships with people that are big, and every night you're jumping off a cliff with these people basically. It's so terrifying, but I find that such a great way to spend your working days. And then with something like Doctor Who, it's exhausting. And also because you're away from home for 7 months of the year and you're filming in Wales, which is nowhere near London, and you're in every day and it's very concentrated. You also form those kind of friendships with people. But you know, in terms of having fun and you know, being a bit wild, it is, you know, working on Doctor Who kind of ticks those boxes. But when it comes to, I suppose, creative, feeling like you're really understanding yourself as an actor, is I suppose you get that through theatre. So in a way, I've not really answered your question because I haven't chosen one over the other, but they both have their, you know, their amazing qualities. Thank you.
My mom has given me $20 to ask you this question.
Oh. Okay, well, I will try and answer it honestly so that you can get your money.
Who's a better
I knew it! Hang on. Who's a better kisser? Who?
David Tennant or Chris Eccleston?
Why do you ask these questions?
It's not my question, it's my mom's.
It's very sweet for you that you're asking. I think I've kissed David more, and I think we are more well practiced, well versed in it, and therefore our technique is somewhat better. I want to see your mother hand you that money. Come on, get it out. Yeah. I have two favourites. One of them is Father's Day, because I love the guy who plays my dad, and I think it's so nice to do the more domestic, emotional side of Doctor Who. You know, it's great doing all the kind of supernatural effects and things like that, but when you actually sit down in a room and have a chunky conversation in an emotional way, that's why I really liked it. I thought it was really heartfelt and lovely as an episode. And then I really liked my last episode with David, yeah, because it felt really real and really horrible, and but it felt like the end of something, and so I have really emotional and fond memories of that time. Yeah. Thank you.
A little taller. First, can I thank you on behalf of everyone in this room for using your considerable talent to revitalize the Doctor Who franchise. The ferocity and strength that you instilled in Rose is an amazing, powerful impact on young women and the entire fan base, and it's awesome for all women in there. So, of all the many characters you've played, if you had to live the life of one of them, which would it be?
I think it would be Rose. She gets to see so much. And she has such a big kind of sense of mortality because she's always facing the end of the world. You know what I mean? So I just think in terms of thrill-seeking and also kind of travelling through time and space with a 900-year-old man. Quite interesting. Yeah, I think it is.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's a good question. Thank you. Hello. Hi.
I have two questions that kind of go together.
Okay.
First one is, how's working with David Tennant?
Yeah.
First of all, and it kind of ties in with the second one. How do you prepare for that last episode? Something so emotional, and you have to be so connected with him.
Yeah, I think because it was all Russell T Davies, so it was all in the writing. So actually having to go there was easy because it's there and it's just awful and sad. And when I stood opposite David, I felt like I was saying it all to him as a friend, as well as, and as a person, as well as Rose and the Doctor, do you know what I mean? So it was easy in that way. And working with David is a dream because he's such a professional. Also, he's just so lively, his boundless energy, and he cares so much about Doctor Who. Like, he cares about the Doctor and the show because he's a fan. Before anything else, he's a fan. So it keeps you going, you know, and yeah, he's a firm friend. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. It's really a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
So your character is really great and unique in that you have two very strong arcs with two very different doctors.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know what it was like transitioning from working with Chris Eccleston to then working with David Tennant, and how did you have to adapt your character for that?
It was actually, I was really worried about it because Chris and I had formed a really tight bond, and because we were bringing it back, that responsibility was enormous for them to like not share that with him. It made me feel like I didn't want to go on really doing it. But then I met David. It just makes me sound so disloyal, so superficial. But he brought something totally different, and so it was very easy to move along with him and continue it with him, and it was a very different thing altogether. And I think naturally that somehow affected the way I reacted to him as the Doctor. It felt a lot more like best mates. And I think the thing that, the feeling of the Rose and the Doctor when Chris was playing the Doctor was it's very much like he was someone she looked up to and respected in a way that was, it was just a different thing, you know? But I felt like Doctor and the Rose second time were more on a par with one another. I don't know why that is. It's just, I suppose, just personality. It's coming together. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. I have a friend named Nadia who couldn't be here today, but she says hi by the way.
Hi.
And we're both a big fan of your work on Doctor Who, but she introduced me to True Love, the BBC drama.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I find it very interesting. So I wanted to ask, what is it like to prepare for a character that is so different from you both emotionally and just on all those things? Like, and just especially with the current state of things, like, what was it like for you to do that?
It was hard because of the subject and because of you know, the whole thing was quite, going into it was pretty tricky because you are basically telling a love story, but it has its holes, and you know, in this world, it's the way that love came about is not really palatable in the eyes of, you know, society, and so playing that, you just kind of felt, oh my god, is everyone going to be really angry at me for playing this woman who falls in love with a student of hers? But these things happen, and it's drama, and we're telling the story. But it definitely felt like treacherous ground, you know. But it had to be handled really sensitively, and thank God we had Dominic Savage, the director, who let us improvise everything. So it was even more of our responsibility about actually, what am I saying? It's like, actually, that was just very strategic of him. But actually, what it did give us was the kind of freedom to make everything human. And so, yeah, I still haven't seen that. And I just found out I was pregnant, actually, with my second child. So the whole thing was like quite intense the whole time. But thank you, though. I'm really glad you've seen it. It's good. Thank you.
Okay, so other than Rose Tyler, who is your favorite companion?
Oh, who's my favorite companion?
Talking about strategic answers.
I know.
We can go classic too.
I know, I was going to go classic. I mean, Sarah Jane.
Yep.
Oh. Yes, hello.
Hello, my name is Sarah. And my question is, if you could write a new episode of Doctor Who, what would you write about?
This is hard. Oh gosh, these are the questions that I feel really nervous about answering because they are, I don't ever feel like I'm going to be able to, I'm not wired that way, so the scripts are really tricky to kind of somehow devise them in my head. I suppose I would go really obvious with the, I would go down the love story line. I would be like, are they together? Are they together? And what is the outcome of that? And where does that leave the Stays Theatre? You know, something really unimaginative like that. That would be fascinating. And no supernatural, nothing more than just the Doctor and the companion in a room chatting. It could work.
Thank you.
It could be a play, maybe. Yeah. A very short play.
Would you ever consider making another season on how you ended your lives in the parallel world with the Midnight Crisis Doctor?
But see, that would be the story. Right? That would be it. You just wrote it for me. Thank you. Let's do it. It would be interesting. I'd be game.
Hey, hi. Like when you came back for like the 50th anniversary episode, my mom and I were like really psyched to see you again, and
That's a relief.
I was wondering if it was like disappointing in any way to be playing like the moment as opposed to Rose Tyler in that episode.
Were you disappointed? Is that what this is about? It's okay, because I've had a lot of that. So I've had a lot of, why can't you just be Rose and like actually see him, be with him, and it be real?
You're awesome. It was just a little confusing at first.
It was quite a confusing episode, I thought. When I read the script, I was like, I don't know. I got it in the end with the help of David Tennant, who is always my translator, so I was like breaking it down English literature. I think it was actually, to come back and do something slightly different was welcome for me, because I've come back so many times and done little bits as Rose that even though I loved that, I thought it probably needed a bit of a shift, and I think that's what Stephen Moffat's so good at. You know, he brought something very different, and it's good to watch it and wish that they could somehow connect in the way that they used to, you know, instead of being totally satisfied, maybe. But I really enjoyed playing it because it meant I could be a bit mad and a bit strange. Yeah. Thank you.
And you did it beautifully.
Oh, good. Thank God. Hi.
Hey. So there's a lot of Doctor Who fan fiction and such, and anyway, so like, what do you think of like all the fan fiction and such that's out there, and as your direction?
I don't really know about a lot of it. I know about some of it. The shadier stuff. But I don't really know. I don't really go near stuff like that. Like, I don't explore the internet in that way. But I'm aware that it exists, and some of it's kind of spicy, and then some of it's kind of sweet, right? And I just think the fact that there's a life out there for those characters being created and devised by the people, whatever the content. Amazing, really, that people care enough to go and carry on creating stories for them. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Hi.
We didn't expect to be doing this today, so I'm extremely nervous.
Oh.
Out of all of the Rose outfits that you've worn, what would you say is your favorite?
Well, the 50s outfit was pretty cool. And then I could take the jeans off and feel like a girl. And I got those cute little shoes, the pink painted ones. It was just a fun episode, you know, and so I think kind of rock and rolling around in that outfit was one of the better ones, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
I'm also extremely nervous.
Oh, don't worry.
I also wanted to thank you for coming and speaking to us today.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me.
And I have the Dorothy's question.
Okay, oh gosh.
Your favorite doctor?
Oh, my favorite doctor.
Either worked with or seen in the classic episodes.
You know, I'm just going to be really boring and say that I don't really have a favourite, to be honest, because the doctors to me are the ones that I worked with, because I wasn't someone who watched the show before. So to say I have a great knowledge of the doctors who came before the guys I worked with would be a lie. obviously since having done the show, I know a lot more about them, but I think my heart rests with all three, you know, the ones that I've worked with. I mean, I only worked with Matt very briefly on it, but I think he's amazing as the Doctor. And so, yeah, I'm just going to be really dull and say that my favourite's the ones I work with. Sorry, it's rubbish.
Hey, that was kind of my question.
Oh no, so...
I'm going to ask something else. What was your favorite monster in Doctor Who?
I really enjoyed the werewolf. I know it's really easy and good, but mostly, well, I thought it looked great, at the end of it all, but actually watching a man run round in a tight green lycra suit with a ball sticking out of his head with a tennis ball on the top, hours of fun. Hours. So for me, that was fun. I also really found the Slovene really funny because it was just like being a child, you know what I mean? And also, there were so many issues with it because it was right at the beginning of it all, and a lot of us were just finding our feet. But that was quite funny. The funny ones are always my favourite. The more serious, darker things always slightly unnerve me. Thank you.
Hi, Miss Piper.
Hi, Bad Wolf.
My question is, what is the most ridiculous and funny thing that's ever happened on the set of Doctor Who?
I mean, there's a lot of days. How do I like tell things without incriminating people? Like, oh gosh, I don't know. I found one of my most fun days was, you know, in the Cassandra episode. I call it the Cassandra because I can never remember the name of the episodes. But when David and I are flying down a lift shaft. Yes. That was fun and ridiculous and potentially very dangerous. But also, actually, there was a lot of fun to be had on those days because we had the being in the lift when I'm being like soaked with water and, you know, all of that stuff was. And then playing Cassandra, that was really, in fact, that episode was really fun. And the days on that were just hours of laughter. But you were never short for that on that job. You know, that kind of happened everywhere because sometimes it was just absolutely ridiculous what you had to do. And then, and there's so many things that have to come together at the same time to make it work, like fire and, yeah, some of those days were a bit dicey. Thank you.
So first of all, I'd like to say I'm psyched to be here. I'm absolutely obsessed with Doctor Who. I love Rose Tyler, and because of that, I have to take a picture really quick.
Go for it.
Okay. Sorry, I had to do that.
That's fine.
Okay, my question is, in the episode where you and Chris as the Ninth Doctor were running away from the Daleks, what did you think when you discovered what they were going to use as the dying Dalek? What was your reaction?
Yeah. Everything comes as a surprise on that show, that's for sure. But I think, you know, things like that were just quite strange and moving. Some of those things are like strangely moving. Do you know what I mean? So that was a bit of a shocker.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey. Hi. I guess I'm wondering what you found, like, artistically speaking, the most challenging thing about being an actor that you've, in a role you've done.
I think playing, I found playing Belle de Jour, like the character of Belle, quite hard because of the subject and because of the way people feel about that kind of profession, and I felt like I had some kind of responsibility. So I found I was more nervous of that than anything else I've ever done, and quite rightly so, because it really upset a lot of people as well, you know. But I think what you have to do as an actor is you've just got to think about telling stories, and whether you think these stories that have happened are right or wrong, not having some kind of unless you're charged in that way, but not having some kind of moral stand on because it means that you are unable to go there as an actor, you know, and it's a very hard fine line, but I definitely found that pretty stressful, and also just actually the content of that show, like the you know, the naughtiness and the scenes. You're out there, daily, moment to moment, just kind of pretty much fully exposed in every single way. So that was definitely the trickier one. Thank you.
Hi. I'm sure it is. I was curious, what do you think about Capaldi as the new Doctor, and how do you think the tone of the show is going to change?
I think it's going to be amazing, because he's amazing. It's such a brilliant choice. He's a bit older as well. No offense, but he's older, and so I think he's going to bring. I think he'll bring in a whole new kind of fan base. He's also the roles that we all know him for are terrifying, you know, and but he's such a great choice because he's so good at the comedy. He has funny bones, but he's also terrifying, and I think that's a winning combination for the Doctor. Someone that you're actually scared of, because at the end of the day, his line of, you know, his decision making is pretty worrying at times, and you are dealing with quite a dark alien. Do you know what I mean? And I think he will make that. I think it's just a perfect blend of qualities that the Doctor needs, and I think the fact that he's a bit older will make it, you know, very interesting. And I think he will bring in a slightly older fan base. I mean, I do. I mean, actually, having said that, there is that fan base already. Yeah.
I'm pretty old.
But you know, I think it's a very smart choice.
Thank you.
And I think he's amazing. I love him. Yeah.
Hello, okay, that's good.
You did great.
Thank you. But my name is Arjun. I'm affiliated with the TARDIS Photo Booth Group, and my question is, of all the stage stuff you have done, what was your favorite and why?
I think the most recent thing, hard though, I think the most recent thing I did was one of my favourites because it was written by a dear friend of mine who devised and scripted Secret Diary as well. Lucy Preble, she's amazing, and I think the content of that show was a very moving thing to act, and you felt really shifted by it every night, and I think that's what you want as an actor, to feel like you're going there all the time. And she made that happen with her writing. But then I really loved Reasons to Be Pretty by Neil LaBute, because it's just savage and it's funny and twisted, and I love that. And also I was super pregnant in that, so kind of going on stage and babying with me every night, kind of, it was a comfort, really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi. Just saying that you're one of my favorite companions, and you are a great actor for a Doctor. You really bring the Doctor to a lot for me. I wanted to say, what was your, out of the, like, John Hurt, Matt Smith, David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston, who was your favorite Doctor to film with in the set and stuff?
Probably David, because I was with him all the time. I got loads of stuff with him, and you know, we did a lot of time together, and he's so he's such a fine actor. So to watch him as an actor watching an actor, that is you know, it's kind of like a masterclass. And then he's really lovely and gentle and, you know, very unactory off set. So for all those reasons, I think he was the best for me at that.
Great.
I mean, I love Matt as well, but I didn't really get to do a lot with Matt as the Doctor. Might have been a different story altogether, had I had the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey.
Hi, I'm going to try not to throw up.
Oh no! What is your dress?
Okay, I first saw you in Secret Diary of Recall World, and I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, great.
And I felt like you were playing kind of two different characters. You were playing Belle and Hannah, and how she didn't want those two characters to meet. But I feel like at the end of the series, she kind of chose between one or the other. And what do you think, who do you think she went with, and how would you might have changed it?
I think she kind of, I think in a way she chose Belle, because she, her profession was kind of like the biggest part of who she was. And I think that happens in life, you know, in all lines of work. If you're, you know, sometimes the thought of not having your job means you don't feel defined somehow, and it's an awful admission, but it happens so frequently. Like, you feel like your work is the key to your success, and the idea of not having it makes you somehow a bit of a failure. And I think that she the fear of being normal, as a normal human being who didn't earn money in that way, was greater than the fear of always being alone. And I liked that it ended in that way, because it basically showed her up to be who she was.
Yeah. Every show you cry in, I see you when I cry.
Oh no. In a good way, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. So I was wondering if you had more fun filming like your seasons or coming back and doing the 50th anniversary special.
I think in a way coming back for just a couple of days with all of those people involved was really fun. And it didn't, you know, there are days I'm not too, because it's such a long-running show and you're away from your friends for so long, that there are days when you go, I just want to go home and I don't want to do this anymore. Like everybody else at work, you know, you kind of go, yes, this is Doctor Who and it's amazing, but my friend's having a birthday in London and I'd really like to be there. And the great thing about having just come back for a couple of days is that I didn't have to feel any of those things. I just came back, had a great time, and then got to go home. So in that sense, and also because it was full of so many brilliant people all together, that felt really, really special. There's nothing ordinary about that day.
You're awesome.
Oh, thank you. Hi. Hey.
I'm Grace. This is my sister Faith.
Hey.
And my question was, what was your most memorable fan experience?
Outside of this, right? I've had a scary one actually, and I suppose that stays in my mind because I was followed home, chased down the street, hiding in bushes, jumping out. The whole thing was pretty traumatic. And so that was that's a bad example of a bad experience. And I know that in the end it was harmless. Don't do that. Don't like it. I think I've had, everything else has been lovely. That was the only time I've ever felt like, oh my god, this is wild. But everything else, I've been overcome with like emotion and generosity from people. It's really just, it's just lovely.
Thank you. And also, my older sister, she's not here right now, but her name is Rose also. And Tyler and Billie Piper.
Oh,
Could you say hi to her?
Hey Rose, sorry you're not here. Where are you?
She's somewhere else at the con. I think she was. Yeah.
Oh, she's at the con.
She is here. She's here.
Oh my God, she should be here. It's not
But thank you. All right. We love you. Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Awesome one. Thank you. Wonderful. Billie Piper.